Hello and welcome to another episode of the Construction Corner podcast. I'm Dillon, I'm your host, and today, guys. So for our event, we're going to have somebody talk about workforce development who is from the trades, coming in to talk about specifically like how do you recruit, attract, and retain talent, but from the entry level piece, right? Basically, for an electrician, like how do you attract apprentices? How do you keep apprentices past their first year? Because that's where everybody falls off, right? So, what are you selling these guys? And one of the big messages out there that a lot of guys are touting, or like the micros are doing, which is somewhat, it's good and bad. When you say, you can make 250, 300 grand a year being an electrician, okay, what does that come with? Well, you're probably at least a journeyman, which means you've been doing the trade for 5, 6 years, right? You're through your apprenticeship, you've done all your hours, you've passed all the tests. Now you're able to work full time at like, a higher wage because you're licensed and all that kind of stuff. And then you're also probably working 80 plus hours a week, to make that type of money on projects. So yes, are guys out there doing it? Absolutely. Are they busting their ass, or they might be a whatever master electrician, or superintendent, but they're still working 80 hours a week to end up making 250 grand, right? So their base salary or their base might end up being 100 and whatever, but because they're working 60 to 80 hours a week, sure, they're making 250, 300, whatever. But that is in high wage areas to begin with, right? High, more likely probably prevailing wage or union wage stuff. And then they're going to be also just working a crazy amount of hours. So it's a little and probably like shit conditions, right? They're in the rain, they're in the snow, they're in the 110-degree heat. Like, because again, as an electrician, you're not there when the building's air conditioned. You're not the painter. You are the electrician there that's in the dirt before the building goes up, and you're the last one out, right? But 90% of that project, the AC ain't on, the heat ain't working because you haven't powered it up yet. Like, so I think a lot of that for guys is it glorifies the job a little too much. And like, what is an electrician doing day in and day out? And there's a lot to be said. I mean, for seeing something from start to finish, right? Seeing something in a green, it's been a cow pasture for however long, or a cornfield, and now it's a skyscraper, or now it's a data center, or now it's a warehouse, or now it's whatever. And to see a project from start to finish is super cool, right? Like, not many people get to see the inside and outside of a lot of buildings, right? A lot of projects, to see what's in there, to see some of these operations, to see manufacturing facilities or data centers or what have you, to see how they operate, what's in there. Like, that is a very cool thing to do. And to see that building come up out of the ground, to steel top out and all the cool things that happen in buildings, right? But that's a moment, right? Like a topping out steel when the building owner shows up to see the top girder get put on and all the ceremony that's around, stuff like that. Is it cool? Absolutely. 100%. It's cool. But that's, half a day, right? And most of that's pomp and circumstance of like the top out because it's cool. And so when you're out there busting your ass and you're working a 12-hour day, and you're 8 hours into it, 9 hours into it, and it's 100 degrees out, like, you better still like what you're doing. It's a much different thing in that type of weather, that type of environment, to really still love maybe not love what you're doing in the moment, right? Because it's going to suck, but to love like that outcome, to see your own hard work produce something. And that is cool. And just like when, for an engineer, to see designs come to life, or even to fully design a building and see what that looks like from start to finish, when you have a blank canvas, a blank sheet of paper, and you got to put all the systems, all the stuff in there. That's, to me, that's cool to see that come to life, and then to actually walk a job site and see, the end result of what we designed and how we put it together. That's really cool to see too. And so I think, not just the like how much money you can make or what does that look like, but kind of more what do you have to do to earn this, right? What do you have to go through? Do you like working with your hands? Can you take all the tests? Because you still have to know a ton of stuff, right? Whether that's sheet metal, electrician, plumber, painter. I mean, there's a lot of knowledge that you've got to know. Like, this ain't like painting your house, man, where you can just live with some crap that you fill on the walls. This is like, I mean, commercial painting's a whole different level and a whole different caliber of quality, and people scrutinizing your work and everything else that goes into it. So I think that, like, you really have to not only love with what you do, take pride in what you do, but you also need to be tough skinned, because you're going to get feedback from people to tell you to fix it or change it, or I just don't like this anymore and do it again, kind of thing. Not to any fault of your own. It's a change, and here we go. So, construction's not for everybody. It really isn't, but it is a great career. It is a great opportunity. And so we're going to have a guy come and talk about that, right? How do you end up talking about to apprentices or people that might want to come into the trades? What are your recruiters doing? What are those people doing to develop workforce? How much are you doing into the schools? You go into middle school career fairs and job fair days. You doing anything in the high schools? What does that look like to develop your own workforce in your community? Whether they come to work for you or you send the bad ones to your competitor, right? Like, what does that look like? But you need everybody in the field so that your competitors go and take other jobs that you don't want, that they're willing to do, and vice versa, right? You're taking jobs that they might not want to do, and you're fulfilling the need of the community in the area that you work. So we've got a guy coming to talk about that. We've got a general contractor, a large general contractor, coming to talk about how they've built their enterprise and their what makes them who they are today, right? How do you build a general contractor? What does that look like? What does that look like operating in a bunch of different areas and attracting good, qualified specialty trades, right? All your subcontractors. What does that look like? So we've got somebody that's been with a very large GC for a while and talk about his experience there. We've got a large electrical contractor talking about prefab, how they do it, what it means to them to really go design, build, and prefabrication for them, their team, all those points. So super excited about that, to really talk about prefab, design, build. It's huge. It's coming. It's kind of our specialty too. So we've got somebody coming to talk about that. We've got Adam, who's our MC last year, 17-year Green Beret, and he's going to talk about leadership. And really, because we're doing our 2-day leadership event before the summit with a small group of individuals, really he's going to feel out those guys over a couple days, what comes up in our 2-day, what's happening in our small group, what's happening with, this elite group of leaders from across the country and across the trades. What are those guys going through? What are their problems? And really, for him, I think he's going to craft his speech and topics and all his life lessons that he's had being in the special forces to talk about those things at the summit, right? Leadership lessons. What are people going through? What do they need today, right? What is the thing of the moment that is going to help those guys unlock whatever is blocking them? For our summit or any other event that you go to, whether it's a single day, multi-day event, there's usually like 1 to 3 things that you need to come away with that you can actually work on. Because for any business of any size, right? I mean, most of these guys are all going to be doing definitely north of $1 million. Most are going to be north of $10 million, even as the specialty contractors, and there'll be a handful in the 5 to 10 million a year range. And so in that size, you're at least 20 guys in the field, if not 50 or 100 or more, you know. So when you reach that size of organization, especially 50 plus guys in the field, you got 5 or 10 in the office, you can turn some things quickly, but other things aren't. It's going to be like a 6 month problem, that you just got to kind of chip away, or you're looking and finding the right person. One of our speakers last year, he's been looking for a COO for like 5 years, to come and help him run his companies. And with that, it's he knows the guy, he knows where he's at. He's waiting for that company to actually sell, so that because that guy's got some equity in it, so his upside's going to be big. And once it sells, then he'll come over and run it. But I mean, talk about a waiting for a 5 year plan, to find the right guy to come over and help you run an organization that's already doing tens of millions of dollars a year, right? Like you need those right guys, because putting someone else in the company is never going to work out right. You're going to tank the company, and like that's not good for anybody. So you kind of wait, and it's not that you're limping along or anything, but you do everything that you can. You put in all the other systems, knowing that you're kind of holding that spot, or you might have to work a little harder for a little longer than you maybe wanted to, so that you can make room for that right guy to come in, and then this guy can move kind of to the side and really truly just be the like president from then on, and not have to do so much operational stuff. He can move up to be president and really focus on president things instead of operational things. So it's stuff like that, right? Like, how do you find the right guys to fill the right seats? How are you attracting talent into your business to fulfill the jobs that you're doing? Are you training, and is everybody really rowing in the right direction? And it's not just rowing in the right direction of culture and principle fits and values fits, but are they fully utilized in the company? Are they excited about the things that they're doing? Are you allowing, new learning opportunities for them to gain some skills and add value to the company, right? Learning takes time, and then you reap that back in spades later, right? It takes time to learn some stuff, but then once they learn it, they can execute it, do it better, move faster, and that helps them, helps the company. Everybody wins. But it's these kind of long tail things that we get too short-sighted, and we're not teaching guys enough, or not giving enough work, or not having enough repetitions through projects. They're never going to learn fast enough, which means that we can't allow them to do more things within the company. So they're not going to progress. They're not going to get their raises because they're of no more value to the company. And that's really a big thing, is that I think both employees and employers forget those two sides of it, right? You got to give guys opportunities to learn and grow so they get paid more, and can contribute more. And then as a employee and a team member, like, you got to know that you have to go and better yourself. And that is not always on the company's time or dime. A lot of that's on your own time and dime and some of it's not even dime, right? Is go watch YouTube, listen to podcasts, read books. A lot of that stuff is free or of minimal cost for you to go and do that stuff. Other and like very industry specific things, yes, you got to go to the trainings and do the stuff, or really take that on in the course of your workday to learn something, right? Do some code research about a specific topic or an idea. Some of it's to solve a problem on a project that you have. Others is to just gain more knowledge, right? And then from there, and over time, that you can prove that you're able to do more, handle more, take on more, which then earns you a raise at the end of that. And that's just how you keep moving up, and then looking for opportunities within the firm to manage projects, to take on a division, to take on a region, or whatever that might be within the company. So super important to like think about and learn. I was on a run yesterday and listened to a podcast, and very large company. They do, I think, 150 billion in revenue a year, and their CTO, their chief technology or their chief information officer, came into the company as a guy who's like painting the stripes on the parking lot for the, I think as a contractor, obviously, and then like figured out how to work his way into the company, became an employee of the company, and then kind of just worked his way up and over like 10 years, all self-taught, no college education, but just kept working and applying himself and finding ways in, and ways to help and ways to improve the organization as now the, CTO or CIO. So a lot of those opportunities like do exist, but you got to, one, stay in a firm long enough, right? Like you can't just keep hopping from firm to firm. You got to stay long enough for those opportunities and those slots to open up for everybody else that leaves. And then two, just the agglomerated knowledge, the trust that you build up with your coworkers, and bosses, managers, for you to do whatever you need to do for the firm, to get into those positions, to keep leveling up. So there's always opportunity, kind of wherever you look. It's just, are you prepared for it, right? Do you have the education, knowledge, resource, skills to take advantage of it? And are you looking for them, right? Are you out there like seeking new opportunities? And that's a whole different topic and piece, but it's one thing that I want to make sure that like employees, team members, guys out there looking for jobs, like very much understand when we talk about the whole workforce development thing. It's not a magic pill. It's not, you're going to instantly make, multiple six figures a year right out the gate. Like it takes time. It takes, earning skills. And it just takes working real hard for a real long amount of time and, have some fun along the way. Like you got to like what you're doing as a whole. Some days might suck for sure, but like what you're doing overall, and you'll ultimately be way, way better off for it. That is this episode of the Construction Corner podcast. Until next time.